Well, I didn't expect to actually be unmuted for this whole time and be, here.
Oh,
So much of a live. So I guess I'm going to be whatever you want me to be.
all right. She's going to be the one that says wrong. Try it. Try it this way. All right. So why don't we go ahead and start with Thomas? We're going from the teacher side of things, and we'll just take it from there.
Excellent. So first of all, everybody, thank you for joining us. This is our webinar about using the Polaris in Google Classroom. My name is Thomas. I'm the Western Regional Sales Manager. And today what we're going to be talking about is using Google Classroom with the Polaris, both from a Polaris user standpoint and also from a teacher standpoint. So I'm starting off by sharing my screen, and for those of you that can see it, this is just a Chrome web browser, and I'm at classroom.google.com, and I'm in a Google Classroom with HIMSS Polaris class. Now, if you're a TVI or if you're a teacher and you've worked with Google Classroom before, some of this might look familiar to you, but some of it might not. The reason is that Google Classroom can be configured differently depending on the school or school district or SELPA, whatever organization that you work with. So in this instance, I'm the teacher, and I'm going to go up here to this top tab, and I'm going to click on People, and that's going to show myself as a teacher. And then I also have Earl as a student, and I also have a secondary account as a student as well, just for testing purposes. But I see Earl as a student. So one of the very first things that we want to do if we're going to add a student, over here on the right-hand side, I could click Invite Students. And from here, I could type in a name or an email. So I could type, Jenny at Selvis.com, for example. Now, I have a personal account. So depending on who you are and what you're doing, if you're doing a personal classroom account, you have to invite people with a .gmail account. Now, at Selvis and at HIMSS, we use Gmail as our email provider, but Jenny at selvishc.com is not a .gmail account, so I wouldn't be able to invite her because I don't have an education or business account. If you do have an education account, you should be able to just type in your student's email right there. Another great option is you can actually go ahead and provide people with the classroom code. So I click up here in the top left-hand corner on the class title. It says, takes me back to the main page. Right below the title, up in the header, there's a class code. And in this instance, there's the series of letters and numbers. I can click on a button to the right and it gives me a larger image of it. I could even, if I wanted to, I can make it even larger by clicking the small square icon. It'll take it full screen. All right. I'm going to just go ahead and minimize that, close it up. So I've already added Earl to the class, and we're going to put Earl through some work here. Earl, are you ready to have some fun? Let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and click on the classwork tab, and up here at the very top, I've got several different options. So I've got a create button. I've got Google Calendar, Class Drive folder, and there's a lot of different things in here that we can cover, but since we're limited to an hour, we'll keep it to the basics. So in general, I'm just gonna go ahead and click on the Create button, and that creates a drop-down of different options. So I can choose assignment, quiz assignment, question, material, reuse post, or topic. So let me explain what these are really quickly.
So Thomas, excuse me, before you go on, I'm just going to have to interject here and remember that the problem that I was experiencing with my internet seems to be happening now. So we may have to be creative here. So we've got, all right.
Well, we can be creative.
Okay.
All right. So in this particular instance, the first thing I'm going to create is an assignment, and we're going to go through all these different options, and we're going to show you how it works from the teacher side, and then also from the Polaris side. All right, so I clicked on create, creates a drop down. I'm going to click on assignment. That opens up an assignment window. So from here, I'm going to put this as Earl's first assignment. Simple enough. There's another field immediately below for instructions. So in here, I could type in instructions. I don't really need to type in instructions for this particular instance. I'm going to go ahead and click on the Add button, and it's got a paperclip icon. So that creates a drop down. And from here, I could choose different options. I could choose to add a file from Google Drive, add a link, add a file, or add a YouTube, or there's a YouTube option, which would embed YouTube. In this particular instance, I'm just going to go ahead and click on File. And this opens up a dialog box called Insert Files Using Google Drive. I have 5 different options right below the heading. I could choose Recent, Upload, My Drive, Shared Drives, and Starred. Recent is exactly what you would expect. It's the most recent documents that I've opened in Google Drive. Upload is as you would expect. It would allow me to upload a file from my personal computer. My Drive is my Drive account, pretty straightforward. Shared Drives is as expected, and Starred are basically your favorites. I'm going to go ahead and just keep on the Upload tab, and I'm going to click Select Files from your device. This opens up a dialog box, and from here, I'm going to go ahead and select the English worksheet. I'm going to click Open. So it's been uploaded, and now I click the Upload button. And I see that it's been uploaded. And at the top right-hand corner, there's a button that says Assign. And I click that. And now, as soon as it's done loading, the assignment has been made. So Earl, do you want to try to take over from here and see if you can complete this assignment?
Okay, I hadn't received the notification. Let me just check the notification area. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here.
Start my video, enter key to select. Share. Button, enter key to select. Start share. Start share. Start share. Start share. This will stop others screen sharing. Do you want to continue? Button cancel. Press the enter key to run.
Yeah.
Button OK. Press the enter key to run. Okay. Zoom. Share. Button enter key to select. Button screen enter key to select. Zoom.
Okay, so you stopped screen sharing. I've started my screen share.
Perfect.
And you're seeing my screen now. And I did not get the notification for some reason, Thomas. Let me check my notification area by pressing space with dots 1 through 6 on the keyboard here.
New messages, 1-5 list item. Thomas Simpson, classroom, new assignment. Earl's first assignment, 2 list item.
Well, I'll be there. It is. So I'm just going to go ahead and press enter on that from the notification area.
Gmail, button open navigation drawer, showing items 1 to 7 of 61.
Darn it, it brought me into Gmail, Thomas.
Primary.
Oh, it should have brought me into Classroom, shouldn't it have?
Button search, CTRLF, button compose, CTRLN, enter key to select.
Why would it have done that?
You reset your Polaris, didn't you?
I did, but
okay.
The default should have been kept the same. So, well, a little problem solving now. I don't want it to come up into Gmail.
Zoom.
I want it to
would because you would have received a message from your Gmail account about the assignment. That's why it would have done that. So it's actually normal, although it's not the notification you wanted to see. It is expected that it would do that. Okay,
so is it not, because before when I did, it actually brought me right into Classroom.
Right. You check your notifications again. Okay. Could you have gotten both?
New assignment. Earl's first assignment, 1 to list item. Zoom. Meeting in progress, 2 to list item.
No.
No, that's
interesting.
It.
Go ahead and scroll back up.
Thomas Simpson.
Press enter again.
Earl's first assignment. Classroom.
There it goes.
There you go. So I think you got both. That's the deal. You got the Gmail.
So by pressing enter on the first one before, it actually dismissed it, and that was the second one I just did. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so Earl has the same email system set up in his Polaris email and also in the Gmail app, and that's why you got 2 notifications.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and tab through here.
Button more options, enter key to Earl's first assignment, 100 points, attachments.
So this Earl's first assignment, 100 points, attachment. And,
that last comment, press the enter key to run. English worksheet.
and I'm just simply tapping through here. So on the Polaris, that would be F3. If I wanted to shift tab back the other direction,
that last comment,
I would add the space bar to that.
English worksheet docs file enter key to select.
How would you want me to do, Professor?
All right. So as a student, the best way to access this document is going to be through the Polaris word processor. But what I want to do first, I want you to go ahead and shift tab back up to the attachment, to the English worksheet.
English worksheet, button that last comment, press the enter key for Pearl's first assignment, 100 points.
Go ahead and just press E twice.
English worksheet docs file enter key to select.
And go ahead and press enter on that attachment.
English worksheet docs, page 1 of 1, zoom 306%.
So what happens from Google Classroom when you first open up a document is it creates a preview, if you would, of the document. So this isn't really in Google Docs. This is actually a preview generated, I believe, through Google Drive. So from here, you're going to be able to read a little bit of text, but you're not actually going to be able to do much. You're not going to be able to scroll below the fold of the page or below what is seen. So what we're going to actually want to do is open this up in Google Drive or Google Docs. So you can go ahead and press F3 to get to that option, or you could just press the letter O to jump straight there.
Open in Drive, enter key to select.
All right. Go ahead and press enter on that.
Open in Drive. Okay.
Drive. Opening Drive. Docs. Opening document. English worksheet docs. Opening.
All right.
Edit box disabled. Press enter to enter or edit text.
Okay, so now Earl has that document open in Google Docs. From here, you know, if he wanted to just read this, he could do that. If he wanted to, you know, print it or do anything else like that, that's fine. And you can do that directly from Google Docs. But this is actually a worksheet. All right, so Earl's going to be doing some work to this. So what we actually recommend is you open it in the Polaris word processor. So he could get to the more options by pressing M, or he can press
the enter key to run.
You could also press Control, Alt, and O to open that up. So you press M to jump there and go ahead and press enter again.
More options. Switch off mute entries and exit enter key to select.
What we're going to want to do is actually download this to the Polaris itself. So to do that, we're going to go to the Share and Export option by pressing the letter S a couple times.
List selection control. Open subtalent. List share export. Open subtalent enter key to select.
Great. So press enter to do that. And then now we have three options. We can send a copy, we can save as, or we can make a copy. The best way to do this is to choose send a copy. So if Earl presses S twice, it should take him to send a copy.
List send a copy enter key to select.
Great.
Send checkbox checked Word.docs. Press the enter key to toggle.
Great. So he pressed enter. Now he's got a copy to choose format. It's set to Word. He could go ahead and tab to OK.
Button OK. Press the
and I just press the letter O. Press enter on that.
Press enter.
Saving English worksheet. Save to English worksheet docs.
And now what's happening is he has a save to drive dialog box open. So from here, he can actually change the document title. He can actually change which account it's going to go to, and he can change the folder. So right now he's in the document title. Earl, go ahead and press F3. So he's at the account heading. If he presses F3 one more time.
gmail.com, press the enter key to change.
So if he were to press enter here, he would be able to select the different accounts if he has multiple set up on his device. If he presses F3 two more times.
Folder. Button Google Classroom with Polaris 101. Click to change. Okay. Enter key to select.
So from here, if he presses enter, he can actually change the folder. Right now, we want this in Google Classroom with HIMSS Polaris 101. That sounds great. So go ahead and he could press F3 two more times, or he could just hit the letter S.
Button cancel, press the enter key to run. Button save, press the enter key to run.
Okay.
And activate the save button.
Yep.
Alert, button navigate on. BSC, enter key to select. One file uploaded.
And it's uploaded.
He's got one file uploaded. Now to check if that file's uploaded, he could go back to the file manager. So you can either press F1 or you can press, if you wanted to open up file manager quickly from directly within Classroom, you can press F1 with the letter F as in Foxtrot or file manager. So
in this case, I just pressed F1 to go to the main menu. I'll press enter to open file manager.
Flash list 1 3 list item.
I've got 3 items in here, one of which is Google Drive. So I'll press G for Google Drive. And wait for that to open.
Folder 114 list item.
Got a very slow internet connection today, folks. I think we're going to get through this, though.
Classroom folder 214.
I want to go into the classroom folder.
Google Classroom
And,
with Polaris 101 folder 1.
there's the folder, right?
Google Classroom with Polaris 101. English worksheet docs 1 2 list item.
And there's an English worksheet.
iOS keystrokes.xlsx22 iOS keystrokes.xlsx22 list item.
All right.
English worksheet docs 1 2 list item.
Is that the document that we were looking at?
Yep, that's the one that we're looking at. Yep.
Okay, so now I've just, the other option that Thomas could have done is he could have actually simply placed this document in a shared folder. But we wanted you guys to see that, it's a little bit of work to kind of shuttle around within docs and then, work with all the file associations and things like that. But it's all possible. What I'm about to show you is probably the most direct way of getting work done. That is Thomas simply placing the document in the shared folder and then telling me about it, maybe emailing me about it. And then I just come in here and access it by browsing to the document and pressing enter on it.
One object copied.
So there's one object copied because it's actually copying it, downloading it to the Polaris, and then it opened the document here. So now I've got this document that says fun action, and actually I've got it in computer braille.
Uncontracted braille.
Let's
Contracted braille.
Change that, shall we?
An action verbs. An action verb is a word that shows
an action verb.
So
okay.
Actually, with this particular document, I downloaded in a sample, and the directions say to circle the action verb in each sentence, but I meant to change it to underline.
On action verbs.
Man, you didn't just give me this to make me look bad, did you?
No. Example, John through the water. Example, John through the water.
Okay, so I'm just navigating down so you guys can hear the speech, but I can very easily see example, John through the water, and you're getting actually the braille down at the bottom, are you not, Thomas?
Yeah, we are.
Alan studied for the test, and I've got the directions here. So let's say that I actually affected some change in this document, and I can just go ahead and jump to the top and type my name, Earl Harrison.
Fun action verbs.
And then I got fun action verb.
An action verb is a word someone or something is doing weighing. Example, Ellen studied for the test. Studied is the verb.
Yes.
Weighing. Directions. Weighing. Studied is example, Ellen studied for the test. Balloon. Through is the verb.
Okay. So let's just say that I've done the worksheet. Now I want to save it back again. Now I could save it just by pressing Control S, and it will just save it to the exact place where I opened it from on Google Drive within that classroom folder. But let's say, maybe I want to go ahead and let the teacher know
File save dialog. File name, English,
that I actually did the work. And I could go and I could click the turn in button on in Google Classroom, but another way for me to get this done is to simply just come in here, press my routing button, and just type in my initials, okay, EMH. Let's know that I've done the work, and I just press enter.
Save complete.
And it's already saved. So Thomas can actually now just go access that document in the shared folder. Okay.
So, Earl, one of the things that we did get a question, it says, will the file not automatically send to the Google Classroom folder on the Polaris? The answer is not in the way that I set it up that way. So what we were trying to show you was how a person would open a document using, a way that a teacher might commonly upload a document. There is a way that I can upload an assignment with a document that will create a copy of that document directly into his Google Drive folder. So Earl, if you don't mind, I'm going to steal the screen from you, and we're going to
Steal
go
away.
ahead. We're going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to share my screen. And so another question is, what if the document the teacher has attached is a Google Doc rather than a Word file? What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do exactly what we just showed you. So what we just showed you works for the Google Doc files. If the attachment is a docx file, then we're going to show you a really easy way to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new assignment. I'm going to call this second assignment. I'm going to click add. I'm going to click file. I'm going to click select files from my device. And from here, I'm actually going to create a second worksheet. And I'm going to call it second worksheet. So Earl, forgive me, but I'm going to give you the same file, but this time we're going to show everyone how easy it is. So I called it second worksheet.docx. I clicked the upload button. And now over here on the far right-hand side, instead of clicking assign this time, on the far right-hand side, there's a drop-down where it says students can view file. I'm going to click that drop-down. And if I go to the bottom, there's an option that says make a copy for each student. When I click on that, what it's going to do is it's going to place that file automatically in Earl's Google Classroom folder. So this time I'm going to click ascend with make a copy for each student selected, click assign. And now that's assigned. So now, Earl, if you want to go ahead and take the screen back, and let's just show people how you access this.
Task name, button, page, task name, but English worksheet docs 1 2 list.
Let's see.
Looking for
Zoom.
Task name, word processor. Balloon. Through with task name, word processor 5. Task name, word processor 5 5. Task name, Zoom on 5 list. Got
a lot of stuff open on this thing. So, all right. So I'm back in Zoom.
Button start annotation. Enter key to select. Start my video. Enter key to select. Share. Button enter key to start share. Start share.
Screen.
Start share. Start share. This will stop others screen sharing. Button cancel. Press the enter key to run. Button OK. Press the enter. OK. Zoom. Share. Button enter key to select. Button screen enter key to select.
Okay.
Zoom.
Okay. So you want me to just simply browse over to again within the file manager.
Backup folder 114 list item.
I'm back to go down to
folder
classroom. Now let me just back up a couple just to show you right from again because I was already in a folder. What I want to do is show you right from the main menu. Yeah, just press F1 always to get to the main menu. Press enter, and we've got 3 options in here: the flash disk, the SD card, and my focus is on Google Drive. Just press enter on that.
Backup folder 114.
And I'm going to go press C for Classroom.
Folder 214 list item. Google Classroom with Polaris.
And Google Classroom for HIMSS is in here. And there is the second worksheet that Thomas just put in there. And of course I can press enter on that and it'll open directly into the word processor. Like I did before, I could do the same work all over again and save it directly back to that same folder. The difference is I didn't have to go into Google Docs or I didn't have to go into Classroom to do this. It was just there.
So Earl, would you mind go ahead and type in your name in there and then go ahead and just save it?
Sure.
Top of document name.
Okay.
Earl. Harrison.
All right. Just I'll just do a save, just a regular Control S or Enter S rather.
Save complete. Uploading 0. 100 Earl Harrison, second word.
Okay.
Files uploaded. Name Earl Harrison.
It's been uploaded.
Okay. So now what would happen if I were to look at his particular document from my computer? I would see the changes that he's made. It was really that simple. Now, there's a couple things about this that you need to take into consideration when you're working with Google Classroom and our particular system is that even though he's made the changes and he's completed the document, he actually hasn't turned it in yet. All right. So Earl, do we want to go ahead and turn in this assignment?
Sure.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to go to Classroom now, right?
Yep.
File Manager, F.
And I'll just go I went back to my main menu by pressing F1, and I'm going to press the letter A because that's actually one of the options in the main menu called
Calendar.
All Apps, and the first app in this folder is called Calendar. So I'm just going to go ahead and press C until I get to Classroom.
Camera. Chrome. Classroom.
And I had Classroom open already, but I also have a lot of other stuff open. So this is just the most direct way for me to make sure that I'm going to get there. Yeah.
Okay. So when he opens up Classroom, it's going to take him right where he left off, which is this preview of the Google Doc sheet, right? So you're going to want to back out of there, right?
So F4 backs me out of here.
Class Stream Enter key to select.
Great. And then when you have an assignment, right? So we're on the first assignment. Go ahead and back out again.
Classroom.
So I just pressed F4 again.
Oh, we exited Classroom.
Oh, we're exited Classroom, didn't we? Went back to the All Apps. Okay.
Open main menu, enter key to select.
So I just basically want to start tabbing through here, right?
Google Classroom.
And Google Classroom does use first letter navigation, so if you name the name of your classes, you could use that.
Thomas Simpson, enter key to select. Button class options, enter key to select. Button Polaris, word processor essential training.
You passed it.
It
was, yeah, it was the Google Classroom.
Polaris, 101.
There it
Thomas
is.
Simpson, enter key to select. Google Classroom with Polaris, 101. Share with your new assignment. Second assignment, 5.
Okay,
So let's go ahead and turn that one in. Yep. So go ahead and press.
Okay, so I have to press enter on that.
Yep.
Button back to class stream enter key.
And I could press T for turn in, can't I? Is that what?
So with Google
that doesn't work
Classroom,
that way.
with Google Classroom, you have a turn in button, but it's hidden. So when you're using the Polaris, you actually have to expand. So press E to get to the expand handle.
Button back to class stream enter key to select. Button expand button. Double tap to access your work set. Button collapse button. Double tap to close your work section. Enter key to select.
And then you can press T to get to turn in.
Button turn and press the enter key to run.
And then press enter.
Turn in your work.
Okay.
Are you sure you want to turn it in?
Submitted for second assignment. Button cancel, press the enter key to run. Button turn and press the enter key to run.
I don't know. I might fail you on this one.
Button. Double tap to close your work section. Enter key to select. Your work turned in.
Turned in. The dog ate my homework.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and steal the screen back.
Okay.
Can I make a quick comment?
Sure.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to, I actually like that they've gone through this the way that they did. Thomas sort of directing Earl. And this is something to sort of note with your students. Once you learn how to do this, it's very simple with first letter navigation. But when you're dealing with a visual screen with all these controls, it does take some exploration. And your student's not immediately going to know what to do. And especially when you go through all the controls. So remember that, you know, after the first couple of times, this will be much easier because they're going to know where to go. But the first time that they look at it, it is going to seem complicated. And so this is kind of, like I said, I like the fact that they demonstrated it the way that they did, where Thomas was sort of telling Earl what was on the screen, because this is probably something that you will have to do with your students.
Absolutely. And the beauty of it is, just like you're watching this Zoom video presentation, you can have the same type of visual experience with your students once they get something like Zoom installed on their Polaris, bring it up on your computer, and you guys can work together just like Thomas and I are working together.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay, so I'm back here in my classroom. I could click on the People tab and then go down to Earl Harrison. And I see second assignment has been turned in. There's a option on the far right hand side that says turned in, and I see that there's an attachment. There's a paperclip icon with the number 1 or with the number 1 next to it. So if I click on second assignment, then I can see the file here. It says Earl Harrison - second worksheet. And when I click on this, it opens up and I see that he's edited the document. So name Earl Harrison, it's right there. Just to let you guys know, When you do click on a document directly from Google Classroom, you'll notice up here in my URL, it says classroom.google.com. So this is not actually, it's a preview, so this is not in Google Docs. So if I try to type something, nothing's happening, right? And don't worry, that's completely normal. There's a drop down here, it says open with. If I click on that drop down, I can choose Google Docs, and that will open up the full, oh, I got a Google Docs error. That should open the full document where I could then go in, I can make comments, I could share that back with Earl. You know, name Earl Harrison. I'll just type, nice job, Earl.
Yeah, you didn't do anything in the worksheet.
Right. So there we go. So no, nice job, Earl. Okay. So that's pretty straightforward. So we did get a question here. So the question says, so if the teacher makes a copy for each student, the student doesn't have to send a copy like the first time you showed it and open it in Classroom? So the answer is yes. So what we did differently between the first and the second time, and I can walk through this one more time really quickly just to show you guys. So I'm back here in the classwork tab. I click create, and then I click assignment. Now, when we get a little bit further along in this webinar, I'll show you guys, but quiz assignment question material, they're a little bit different than just plain assignment, and I'll show you guys, we'll get to that in just a second. But when you're using the assignment option, so I can just type in my title, assignment, here are my instructions. When I click add, if I click Google Drive, I'll just show this real quick. It gives me a list of all the different options in Google Drive, right? But what I really want to do is I want to click on File, and this is the best way to do it for the Polaris, but also for you know, a lot of other Braille devices. This is probably going to be the best way to do it. You click Add. Let's go through that again. Add, File. We're at the Upload. I click Select Files from my device, and then I select the document that I want to select. I highlight it, click it with my mouse, and I click Open. Then I click Upload. Now, the important thing is, over here on the right-hand side, there's a drop-down that says Students Can View File. If I select Students Can View File, that will allow Earl to open the file in Google Docs and all that sort of stuff. Students can edit file. That means he'll be able to open it up in Google Docs, but he'll be able to change the file. But with these first two options, he'll be able to access them through Google Docs, but it won't create a copy in his Google Classroom folder. You want make a copy for each student, and selecting this option will create that copy of that file in his Google Classroom folder, specifically to him. So let's say you have 3 students. Each student will have their own document in there, and you'll notice this. Let me click back on Earl as a student. You'll notice that each one gets their own document because it appends the document with the student's name. So when Earl saved this file, it says Earl Harrison - second worksheet, so that I know this one was specifically from Earl Harrison. There's a question that says, what if the teacher leaves a comment as an actual comment? For example, converts it to a Google Doc, highlights a section, and leaves a comment in it. Is that comment accessible in any way to the Polaris user? I don't believe it is, but Jenny, do you have any more information about that?
I think the comments in Google Docs are accessible, but they're not easy to get to, and he wouldn't automatically know it was there. So I would say that's not going to be the most efficient solution. If he went and looked for it, he could probably access it, but he wouldn't know to look for it. It's not going to be as immediately visible. He's not going to get any kind of notification,
right.
Probably.
And those comments are not going to show up in the word processor.
Right.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Only in Google Docs.
All right. All right. Moving on. I hope this is informative for you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Let's go ahead and keep on going. Earl, are you ready to do more classwork?
Absolutely. I'm just a motivated student.
Oh, so
you sound very motivated.
right?
On a Friday afternoon. What time is it? Is it time?
So are classes or schools closed over there where you're at, Earl, for the remainder of the year?
Oh yeah. Probably yes.
Okay. I know over here, Oregon, Washington.
We have some TVIs from the area here to probably speak more knowledgeably on that front. But the governor has actually just extended our stay-at-home order to May 3rd, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So it's just like, I mean, beyond that, but there's not much school left.
Yeah, over here on the West Coast, a lot of states have canceled school until fall. So,
but with that said, the reason the TVIs are attending is because they are still in full swing and teaching mode here in the state of Minnesota.
All right, let's keep on rolling here. So I'm in the classwork tab here in Google Classroom. I'm going to click the create button, and I'm going to choose quiz assignment. Are you ready for some quizzes?
First wall panelists. Kansas has canceled school in buildings, but we are still teaching. Enter key to select.
All right, got a chat saying that's canceled school in buildings, but they are still teaching.
Yep. All right. Complete the following quiz. All right. So I clicked on create and then I chose quiz. So I have the assignment box open here. I titled it Earl's quiz, put in the instructions, complete the following quiz. So when I select the quiz option, by default, it creates something here called a blank quiz. When I click on this, it should open up a blank quiz in Google Docs. I'll know as the teacher that it's in Google Docs because the URL says docs.google.com. Google does have the ability to create quizzes in here. So I'm going to call this Earl's quiz. And Google doesn't make things fun for you. You also have to rename it up here in the top left-hand corner. So I just select all and paste. Now I've got a few different options here. So when I click down here into this first section, there's always one question. It's always untitled question. And when I go over here to the right-hand side, there's a drop-down that gives me a whole list of different options here of what type of question I want. So I'm going to select short answer for this first quiz question. And I'm going to call the, let's see, what do I want to ask you? What is your favorite type of dog? All right, short answer text. So one thing I do want to point out here is that there are different options. And Earl and I found this out the hard way, but when you're creating these short answers, sometimes you're going to have the option to have it be numeric only. So if you're running into some questions, or if you're running into some issues when you're working on the Polaris, please take note of the error notifications that are happening. So yeah, that's good. So so we have a short answer. What's your favorite type of dog? Paragraph question, basically the same as the short answer, but it should be a little bit longer. What is your favorite song? Question mark. Is set to paragraph. Over here, I could choose to do answer keys. I could actually duplicate this question if I'm going to be asking a lot of the same type of question. Down here at the bottom, I can delete. There's a required toggle switch here. If I click on this, that means that he will be required to answer that question before he can submit it. I'm going to leave that off real quick. And let's see. I can, let's go over here on this far right-hand side. So when I'm done with this question, over here on the right-hand side, I have a list of options. The top one is add a question. Right below that is import question. Below that is add title and description, add image, add a video from YouTube, and then add a section. And you'll know what each of these icons are when you take your mouse and you hover over it. It will actually give you a tooltip that will tell you what the icon is. It's also accessible, so it should read to you what the button is if you're using a screen reader. So I'm going to click add question again. This time I'm going to choose multiple choice. What is your favorite food? Question mark. So actually I have short answer here. I want this multiple choice. So option 1, pasta. Option 2, ribs. Option 3, salad. Okay, I'm gonna click another one here.
Ooh, salad.
I'm gonna do check boxes. Here's another. And we've got option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4. You guys can probably get the gist of it. So you just click add a question, type in your question here. What's a question? So I can choose drop down. I have option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4. Pretty straightforward, okay? So that's, it's done, right? Now, I can click send here, and actually I can send this to people by email. So you can include the form in the email, you can add collaborators, there's a link in here, and then there's also an embed option here. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and ignore all this. And actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and close this out. So it says all changes saved in Drive up here on the top left-hand corner of the page. I'll close this out. And I noticed it didn't actually update this form. Let's go ahead and refresh this page. Earl's quiz, I'm gonna click on the 3 dots over here. I'll click edit. Okay, so it did update, it's just Google didn't update it for me. It did say blank document. I reloaded the page and now it says Earl's quiz. All right, Earl, I'm going to assign this to you. I'm gonna make this, yeah, let's go ahead and just assign this to you. Students will see the assignment in their streams immediately. All right, so I click assign. And now Earl, let's go ahead and throw it back to you.
Okay.
Start annotation. Enter key to select current view with share. Double tap to hide toolbar.
All right, screen.
Current view with share. Double tap to hide toolbar. Button start annotation. Enter key to select. 4 enter key to select. 4. Zoom meeting ID. 370. Button QA. Press the enter key to run. Start my video. Enter key to select.
No.
Share. Button enter key to select. Start share. Start share. Share. Button enter key to select. Button start annotation. Enter key to start my video. Enter key to select. Share. Button enter key to start share.
What happened to screen?
This will stop other screen sharing. Do you want to continue?
Yes.
Button cancel. Press the enter key to run. Button OK. Press the enter. OK. Zoom. Share. Button enter key to select. Button screen enter key to select.
All right.
Classroom.
Okay, so that went into classroom, right? Do you think that you suppose I got a notification about that?
I just now got my notification.
Let me see what. Let's see here. I'm gonna.
File manager F. Thomas Simpson posted a new assignment. Earl's first assignment 1-2 list item. Thomas Simpson classroom new assignment. Earl's quiz 213 list item.
That's my quiz.
Yep.
Angela Randall, Linda.
So do you suppose that
Simpson classroom
is the email, or do you think that's going to take me right to classroom?
That's a good question.
Let's find out, guys.
Yep. Took you right into the email.
Button open navigation drawer. F2R space M.
Okay.
File manager.
I don't like that, so I'm going to go into classroom.
Calendar. Camera. Chrome. Classroom.
All right. So
button disabled post.
Okay.
So Earl, what happened? So Earl is on his last assignment that he just turned in. The reason is because he didn't close Classroom completely. He just left it. So when you go back to an application, it's going to take you right where you left off. Right.
Which is usually a good thing.
Which is
usually
a good thing. Yep.
In this case, let's see if
annotation. Button enter key to select. Stop share. Button enter key to button more options. Enter key to select.
Yep. Press F3 one more time.
Button disabled post.
No.
Annotation. Button enter key to select.
Press F3 3 times.
1,
Stop share.
2.
Button more options. Enter key to second assignment.
One more time.
Button at class comment. Press the enter key to run.
It's not getting to the handle.
Is it skipping right over the quiz?
It's skipping over the handle. Go ahead and press F4.
I'm sorry, you cut out there for me.
Press F4.
Button new notification. Open main menu. Enter key to select.
So Earl, actually, one thing I think that would be good to show people is how to get to these different things in different ways. So we're on the class stream right now, which is a great place to access all of your assignments. But can we show them how to get to the assignment in the to-do section?
So just you know, basically it's a lot of tabbing around in here, right?
It is. So actually, what you want to do to get to the to-do option is go ahead and jump to the top of the screen.
Okay.
Button new notification. Open main menu. Enter.
So you want to open the main menu by pressing enter.
Okay.
Main menu open.
And then you want to press the letter T until you get to the to-do option.
To-do options, right?
List teaching. List to do enter key to select.
Okay, enter on that.
List to do enter key to select.
And I'll just
notificate to do.
Tab over.
Button filter enter key to select. Button more options enter key to select. List to do. Tab 1 of 2. List done. Tab 2 of 2 enter key to select. No due date heading. Earl's quiz. Google Classroom with Polaris enter.
There's my quiz, right? Enter on that.
Yep, go ahead.
Button back to do enter key to select. Button more options enter key. Earl's quiz. Button at class comment. Press the enter key. Earl's quiz file enter key to select. Button expand button. Double tap to access your work. Assign.
So actually, Earl, you want to go to the attachments.
Your work button expand button. Double tap to Earl's quiz file enter key to select.
And you want to press enter on that.
Oh, sorry.
Button at class comment. Earl's quiz file enter key to select.
All right. So when Earl clicked
enter key to select
on Earl's quiz, what it did is it opened up the quiz in the Google Chrome web browser. Why did it do that? Well, because there's not really an app for quizzes. It does open in Google Docs, but it doesn't really handle Google Docs very well. As a result, Google Classroom doesn't handle quizzes well in Google Docs through apps. So by default, Google will open these up in a web browser. So Earl's now in Chrome web browser, and he should be able to navigate down to the different questions.
Earl's quiz enter key to select. What is your favorite type of dog? Enter key to select.
What's my favorite?
What is your favorite type of dog? Enter key to select.
So he's on the what is your favorite type of dog? That's the question. So he navigates down.
Edit box disabled. What is your favorite type of press enter to enter or edit?
And just enter in there to type in my answer, right?
Yep.
I don't know. How about love my labs? Okay.
What is your favorite song? Enter key.
My favorite song. He says a crummy question to ask a musician.
Your answer enter key.
Let's see here. Kelly, my wife, is just commenting how she feels like she's in the Hotel California with all these stay-at-home. You can check out anytime you like it. You can never leave. So I'll put Hotel CA. Okay. And
list what is your favorite food?
What is my favorite food? Oh, this is multiple choice.
What is your favorite food? Enter key to select.
All righty.
What is your favorite food? Enter radio button unchecked. Pasta. Press the enter key.
So we've got a group of radio buttons here.
Pasta. Enter key to select.
Wait a minute.
Radio button pasta enter key to select.
Pasta.
Radio button unchecked. Ribs. Press the enter ribs enter key.
Ribs.
Radio button.
And I am just tabbing through here.
Salad enter key.
Oh, I love me a good salad. I'm just going to press enter on salad.
Radio button check salad. Press the enter key. Salad enter key.
So Earl, what did it tell you, or what information did you learn when you found out it was a radio button?
So my internet is really choppy, and yeah, I heard every other word you just said, Tom. So go ahead and repeat if you would, please.
Sure. So when you come to a radio button, what would you expect? Would you be expecting to select one or multiple?
Yeah, a radio button is like the old car radio buttons. You press once you select one, nothing else it can be selected. So
that's exactly right.
It's always the last one that you select.
Or rather, if you select another one, it will deselect what you selected before.
Wait a minute, did I say salad?
Salad enter key. Radio button check salad. Ribs enter key to select.
Ribs.
Radio button
Earl does some good ribs around here.
Ribs enter key to select.
That's part of.
Radio button unchecked.
All right.
Salad enter key.
Salad.
List showing 4 items.
Showing 4 items.
Here's another enter key to select.
So there's another question. So with checkbox though, you could select multiple, right?
Yeah, checkboxes, you can check as many that apply. So let's just say that the first one applies.
Check. Option 1 enter key. Checkbox not checked. Option 2 press the enter key.
And the
option 2 enter key to select. Checkbox not checked. Option 3 press the enter
third
key.
one applies.
Checkbox.
So we got 2 checkboxes checked, right?
Option 3 enter key to select. Checkbox not checked. Option 4 press the enter. Option 4 enter key to select.
All right.
List showing 5 items.
I get extra credit for that.
Yes, you do.
What's the question enter key to select.
All right.
List choose enter key to select. List option 1 enter key to select.
So what is this here?
That's a drop down.
A drop down. Oh. So drop downs, you can only select one item as well.
That's correct.
So I'll just go ahead.
List option 2 enter key to select.
Select that one.
List option 3 enter. List option 4 button submit press the
I'm going to
Google 4 button submit press the
and I am going to go ahead and submit this.
Perfect.
Earl's quiz.
Go eat some pizza rolls.
All right. So if I put answers in there, he'd be able to see his score immediately. But Earl, can I have you jump back to Google Classroom if you don't mind?
Okay. I'll go ahead and bring up my list of running apps with F1, F4. And that didn't work. How come? Or did it? No, it didn't.
It pulled up.
File manager, F.
I'm going back the old-fashioned way. Back to the file manager.
Calendar.
A for applications, C until I get to Google Classroom.
Classroom.
Enter.
All right. So he was on the Earl's quiz page, and you completed it, right? Now let's go ahead and check out what's in that expand handle again. So go ahead and press the letter E. You're gonna have to press
that last comment. Press the enter key to run. Earl's quiz file enter key to select. Button expand button. Double tap to access.
Expand
Your
button.
work section expanded.
All right. And now
Your
this
work
time
assigned.
he's not going to turn it in. He's going to mark it as done.
Button add attachment. Press the enter key to run.
All right, so
Button mark is done. Press the enter key to run.
There we go.
You didn't attach anything to Earl's quiz, so nothing will be turned in. Your teacher will see it's done.
okay,
Button
Yeah,
cancel.
that's
Press the
right.
enter key. Button mark is done. Press the enter key to run.
mark it is
Button,
done.
button collapse button. Double tap to close your work section. Enter key to select.
All right. So
And
his work is marked as submitted. So now as the teacher, I
Your
can
work
go
section
in
collapsed.
to my Google Docs and I can actually see the results of what he put in.
Let's steal the screen back.
Yeah, let's go ahead and steal it back. So we're actually running up at 2:59 right now. So let's go ahead and just do a
Zoom.
couple other things real quick.
From Sunday, I have paddled to all panelists. As a teacher who is blind using the Polaris with Classroom, can I assign and make quizzes? Enter key to select.
So the question was,
You
as
would
a
share.
teacher
Double tap to
who is
hide full
blind using the Polaris with Classroom, can I assign and make quizzes? Yes, you can. Absolutely. You can't, if you're going to be creating quizzes and doing all that sort of stuff, it's easier to do on a computer when you're doing it from the teacher side of things. So, use your favorite web browser and favorite screen reader, but everything in here should be accessible to you.
From Sunday, I have paddled to all panelists. How about responding to private comments? Enter key to select.
How about responding to private
Aren't
comments?
you would share? Double tap to hide toolbar.
Yeah, you should be able to respond to all private comments.
May I ask a quick question? As we don't use Classroom very much in Korea, I saw that you could email actually that quiz. Have you tried that with Polaris email to see how that comes out?
The quiz?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the quiz will actually open up the exact same way. So what it does is it creates a URL link, and then you click on that link, and it opens up right in the web browser.
Okay, I thought you said that you could actually put the quiz directly in the email message. No?
Nope. Quizzes always open up
Okay.
in the web browser. That's how Google
Got it.
Classroom handles it.
Okay.
So what if the teacher attaches a slide presentation the student needs to add / edit? That is a great question because that's what we're going to do next. Man, this is great. So I'm going to go ahead and select the material option here. So I'm in back in Google Classroom. I'm in the classwork tab. I click create. I'm going to just click material here. So if I click on material, that means that it's not something that's assigned to the student, but that's going to be something, like a syllabus. You want something the student to read. All right. So I'm just going to click material for this case. I'm going to put Earl's PowerPoint slides. I'm going to go ahead and click add. I'm going to click file and select from my devices. I'm going to click this ATIA 2020 PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to click upload. And now it's uploaded. So one thing I want to show you guys is that when I uploaded something here that under material and under quiz, you'll notice I don't have the drop down here to make a copy for each student. Okay. So if I were to do this as an assignment, I would have that drop down and I could select make a copy for each student. Because it's material, that means that this is going to be content that's consumed by the whole class that they're not necessarily supposed to add to or edit. For this particular instance, we'll show you how to add to or edit it, how to read the PowerPoint slide. But so we don't have that option here, so it's not going to create a copy in his folder. So let's just go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and save this post. So Earl, you now have a PowerPoint slides materials. So do you want to go ahead and take back the screen?
Okay. Go back to Zoom here.
All right. And while we're waiting for that, there was a question that says, as a student, do you have to open links in the Chrome browser or can you use a different browser? If you can, how do you change this setting?
Button start annotation. Enter key to select. 5 enter key to select.
Let's see here.
Start my video enter key to select.
Jenny, do you know the answer to
Button
that?
enter key. Start share.
I would
Thomas, this will
think
stop.
that this will open in your default Android browser.
Okay, press the enter
And
key.
so you can actually set
Share.
that in your Android system settings. There's
Share. Button enter
several
key to
different default apps you can set, for example, your default printing app and various things. So you can actually change your default browser in the Android system settings. And I would think that any
start
link
annotation. Enter key to
that's
select.
attached
Start my
to
video enter key to select.
any website that's going to be attached to anything should open in your default browser. So I would say that would be a yes, although I haven't personally tried it.
Okay.
Share. Button enter key to select. Participants enter key to select. More. Button enter key to select.
So let's share.
Button enter key. Start share. Start share. This will stop others screen sharing. Button cancel. Press the enter key. Button OK. Press the enter key. Okay. Zoom. Share. Button enter key to select. Button screen enter key to select.
Now, did you assign to all students, Thomas? Is that what you did with this, or am I going to have to go?
Yeah, I assigned to all students, but
Okay, so I can just browse through it from within
File manager. F.
no,
the file manager. No?
nope, because we don't have the option to make a copy for each student. So,
Oh, you said that, yes.
Yep. So the only way you can make a copy for each student is when you choose to select an assignment. That is the only one that creates a copy in the Google Classroom folder. That's how Google handles it.
Okay, so I've got to go into Classroom then
That's right.
to do this. Okay, and
Calendar. Camera. Chrome.
I'm afraid I'm only hearing like every other word you say.
Classroom.
Yeah.
My so bad.
Actually, it's not you. I'm having the same problem with him.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Oh,
don't know what that's about.
it's Thomas's
Button
internet.
back. To do enter key to select.
Hey,
Button more options.
you better
Enter key
call
to select.
Comcast. So, okay, guide me along here,
All
Thomas.
right.
So,
So go ahead and jump to the top. You want to go to the back button.
Button back. To do enter key to select.
okay,
Press
Button
yes.
notification. Open main menu.
Okay.
Enter key to select.
All right. And go ahead and let's see. Go ahead and press that open main menu button. Go ahead and press that. Press enter on there.
Oh, open main menu. Okay.
Yep.
Main sign in as Earl Harrison. LSO@gmail.com. Expand account menu. Enter
Let's
key
go
to
ahead and go to notifications. Go ahead and press the letter N.
List notifications. One
Go ahead and
enter key
press
to select.
enter.
Okay.
New notification. Open main menu. Enter key to select.
All right.
Notification.
And this is just another way of getting to the different things that as a teacher that I post. So when I post assignments, when I post a lot of different things, it's you can get to things in the to-do section if it's something that's going to be turned in. The class stream also has a full list of all the notifications, materials, everything. Everything else you can also find directly in notifications. So go ahead and keep tabbing, Earl.
I'm pressing tab.
Yep.
Button more options. Enter key to select. Thomas Simpson.
There you
Posted new
go.
items in Google Classroom with Polaris. Enter key to select.
Go ahead and press enter there.
On that one. Okay.
Classroom. Google Classroom with Polaris. 101. Share with your class. Enter key to new material. Girls PPT select 6. 2 p.m. Enter key to
So
select.
that's the PowerPoint presentation?
Yep. So we're going to go ahead and press enter on that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Button back to class stream. Enter key to select.
And the best way to access this for me is going to save it to my drive so I can bring it up in the PowerPoint, the viewing power. What do you call that? View PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Okay.
So since we're running quick on time, I'm going to just have you jump to things real quick. So the PowerPoint slide is called ATIA 2020 PowerPoint. So just go ahead and press the letter A.
All right.
H 2020 PPT
Enter on that.
Yep. Press enter.
2020 PPT PPT.
Uh-huh.
Now, just like we did it the very first time around, it's opening up a preview. We don't want to open the preview. We actually want to save this to the player. So go ahead and press O.
Button open and drive. Enter key to select.
So
Open and drive. Yep. Press enter.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Drive. Alert. Opening Drive. Slides. Opening presentation. Annotation. Button. Enter key to select.
Okay.
Open Asia 2020 PPTPPTX with viewing permissions.
All right. So you're going to want to go ahead and press tab twice to get off the Zoom button.
Tab twice, right?
Yep.
Stop share. Button. Enter. Button. Navigate up. Enter key to
All
select.
right. And then go ahead and press the letter M to get to the more options.
Button. More options.
Press enter.
More options.
Now from here, we're going to want to do share and export. So press S until you get there.
List show speaker notes. Enter key to select. List selection control. Opens list share export. Opens up talent. Enter key to select.
Yes.
Button back. Enter key.
And we're going to want to choose send a copy.
Share export. List send a copy. Enter key to select. Set checkbox. Check PowerPoint.pptx. Press the enter key to toggle.
Okay. We want to do it as a PowerPoint. So you could press O to jump to OK.
Button OK. Press the enter key to run. Alerts. Saving Asia 2020 PPTPPTX. List send to Zoom Buddies. Enter key to select.
All right. And where do we want to send this to? Do we want to send it to Zoom Buddies, Gmail, Save to Drive, or Bluetooth? I say we want to save to drive. So we want to go ahead.
Save to drive. Enter key to select.
So you're going to press enter.
Save to drive. Enter key to select.
And we want to do this all the time, right? So you can choose between just once or always. So you want to press A to select always.
Button. Always press the enter key to
Press
run.
enter.
Asia 2020 PPTPPTX.
Okay, from here we could change the document title, we could change the account, the folder. Everything looks pretty good. So you want to go ahead and just jump to save. So you can press F3 to get there, or press the letter S. Yep, press enter.
Yeah, okay.
Alert. Asia 2000. Your one file is being uploaded to Google Classroom with Polaris 101.
All right, now if he presses F1 and the letter F, that'll jump it back into File Manager.
Okay.
Task name, File Manager. Roll Harrison, second work, sheet docs, 1-4 list item.
And I think I have to refresh.
So,
Refreshing. Backup folder 114 list item.
Oh, okay. So
Classroom folder 214 list item. Everworthy cause folder. Classroom folder. Google Classroom with Polaris 101 folder. Polaris.
oh, that was it.
Google Classroom with Asia 2020 PPT.
There it is.
There we go.
Selected Asia 2020 PPT. Unable to connect to server. Retry. Yes prompt button.
Unable to connect to server. Well,
got some Wi-Fi issues
Unable
yourself.
to connect to server. Retry. Yes prompt button. Unable to connect to server. Retry. Yes prompt button.
figures, right?
Yeah, so it seems like Google's having some issues with their connection as well.
Yes prompt button. No prompt button.
Let me just do this again.
Asia 2020 PPTPPTX15 list item.
I could just copy and paste it perhaps, but
Roll Harrison. Second.
this,
Asia 2020
really I should just be able to open
Unable
it.
to connect to server. Retry.
Okay.
Yes prompt button. No prompt button.
Google's having issues. We're all having issues.
Cancel. Asia 2020 PPTPPTX15.
5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. All the gamers in the neighborhood are doing what they do.
Yeah, I'm getting about a third of the internet speed I usually do.
Roll Harrison. Second word. Asia 2020.
Okay, I'm gonna try to copy that.
2020 PPTPPTX15
Yeah, I'm gonna
list item.
see if I can.
So
Classroom folder 214.
for those of you that are not
familiar.
familiar with how to use the Polaris, you can press enter with C, and that's going to copy a file. You press backspace to move up in the folder system.
Exactly.
Now he's pressing enter to enter into the different folders. And then when he gets to the folder that he wants to paste it in, he presses enter with the letter V as in Victor. So there was a question, if a quiz is emailed, then could you click on the link through the mail app on the Polaris and open it in the default browser, right? Jenny?
It's going to open in the Polaris browser if you do that.
Yeah.
However, you could copy the URL to the clipboard, open your Android browser if you wanted to, and then paste it into the address bar. So there are ways to access it, but by default, yeah, it's going to open in the Polaris browser, not your Android browser.
So just to give you an idea of the slowness of the internet, it's saying that I couldn't access this because it is still loading. So it's actually still being uploaded to the server. So this is a Google issue right now, a bandwidth issue.
Looks like we're getting throttled. Well, with that, before we lose everything, let's see real quick. All right. So I say that we go ahead and open it up for some questions. So if you have a question and you'd like to to ask it verbally, go ahead and raise your hand, and what we'll do is we'll unmute you, and you'll be able to ask your questions. There's also a Q&A section. You can ask your questions in there, or you can go ahead and ask your question in the chat option. So I'm going to go ahead and Shelly, you're going to be first. So go right ahead, Shelly.
Is there a document with these steps listed so that we can kind of go through these with our students?
So is there a document with these steps? There is, however, Google has recently changed how you navigate within Classroom. They love to do that. And I absolutely hate it. So the documentation has to be updated to match the current Google Classroom navigation. So we can get that done for you, and we could probably get it done for you pretty quickly.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. And for everyone, just to let you know, we are recording this webinar. It will be live. You will get it will be live on YouTube. I'm sorry, not live on YouTube. We will send the recording to YouTube when the video is live on YouTube. You'll get a notification. And we'll also probably put a download to the documentation on our webinars page for this particular webinar. So you'll have everything there. Do we have any
another interesting, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say another interesting thing to note, and he actually did this a little bit in the presentation where he was directing Earl. Often in Google, there are multiple ways to get to where you want to go too. So that's the other thing, even though we will, of course, provide documentation, but you may even find, depending on how you set things up, that there's a little bit different set of steps. So, feel free to explore and create your own. And of course, we want to give you guides, and we will do that. But yeah, that's the main problem with Google is, as he mentioned, first of all, they update often, and how you get to something changes rather often. And so it's hard to keep up with the documentation. But also, there are often multiple paths to the same location or the same set of steps to get you where you want to go.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? Go ahead and type them into the chat or into the Q&A section. Did you guys find this interesting?
Are you still awake?
Yep. Is there a way to find the default browser for links from Google Classroom? Jenny?
Well, as I was explaining, the default browser, it's automatically going to be Chrome, but that's actually more of an Android function. So it's not actually a Google Classroom related function. Hang on a second. Okay, sorry about that. My Polaris was announcing the question. Anyway, what was I saying? So it's actually not a classroom related function. It's an Android related function. So you're going to go to your Android system settings and your browser. You'll be able to set the browser default, and that will be what affects that. It's not going to be, as I said, related to Classroom. It's not going to be related to Google Docs or Drive or whatever. It will be related to your Android default, and it will affect all Android applications, whatever your default browser is set to.
Okay. So there was a question. Let's see, where did that go? What about YouTube assignments? Will they open up in YouTube? The answer is yes, they will open up in YouTube. So if you guys found this interesting, if you found it valuable, go ahead and type into the webinar chat and just let us know. If you have any feedback for us, let us know.
This is sort of a new thing for us. So each week we are sort of improving as we go and tweaking things, and we're happy to have your feedback about how we can do that.
All right.
Oh yeah, I knew you were going to ask me that. and I'm gonna have to look it up. And I wasn't doing that because you can hear my keyboard doing everything because I'm unmuted. I'm so sorry. I will email you instructions.
If I can interject here, is it, Jenny, that you would go to all programs, select the program that you want to be the default program, decided like for the web browser, and then you would do Enter I to bring up the properties of that application, and in there you should be able to.
That sounds very much like it could be correct.
Yeah, so
I always have to look up instructions. And actually, again, there's a couple ways that you can do it.
Right,
that is one way.
You can go into Android system settings, or the easier, more direct way is you would go into all applications from the main menu, go to whatever you want to set the default for. And then
no, you can't do it in there.
No, you can't.
No, not in there.
Oh.
No. As far as you're thinking in the app manager.
Not in the app manager. No, just within the applications folder, you press Enter I on the application, and then in there you can actually. I did it earlier with Thomas. You can clear the defaults.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Okay. I thought you were talking about in the app manager. Oh no. Okay. No, you're right. I'm so sorry. As I said, there's always multiple paths to this. No, he's actually right. You can do that. So you go ahead, describe it.
That was on a test somewhere, I think. It was, yeah. So basically you're going to go to the all applications menu from the main menu. And what would we do? So like in Classroom, if we didn't want, what did we do? What was that example?
If you go to Chrome, you should be able to go to Chrome, and I think that would.
Right. So if you were to go to Chrome and you press Enter I, it brings up the properties for that application, and it has choices like you can have it stop running, you can uninstall the application from there if you want to, or you can assign it as you can say that this is my default app for it whenever it launches a web browser.
That's right.
That's how
so. If you installed Brave or something else, so Chrome is automatically going to be the default in Google, of course, in Android. So if you installed another browser like Brave or something, then you would do that. He's exactly right, and I forgot about that. I usually do this through the Android, so he's right. His way is easier.
It is easier, and another thing to mention while people are here, I was asked to test. Somebody asked me to test some applications earlier, and warned me not to use my personal Polaris with these applications. So I did. I brought out an old sample Polaris, which is working like a champ, by the way. Installed the test firmware, and actually I'm using it on this presentation. The reason I bring it up is because every time I needed to launch one of the Google applications, I needed to update it. So don't be surprised if you go into Drive, Sheets, Slides, Docs, Classroom, and it says you're running an older version, you must update. It's painless. You just go to the update button, press it. It'll actually have a second update button, press that again, and just let it do its thing. It'll update just fine. So that's nothing to worry about if you encounter that.
Yep, and you can also go to the Play Store and just update all apps before you do anything.
Hey, well, why didn't you tell me that? That's a great way to do it.
No, that's okay. See, we share information. We have different methods.
Awesome.
So there you go.
All right, unless there's any other questions, I think we're going to call this a wrap. I thought it was very productive, and you saw some real world examples of me just kind of floundering around, and that's just kind of the reality of it. I mean, there are multiple ways of accomplishing things, and what's most important is that you and your student find the way that works for you. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to give us a call. Support issues, support at hims-inc.com. You have any questions about any of the products that we have to offer at HIMSS, whether it be low vision or blindness related Braille devices, just feel free to give us a holler at 512-837-2000. Unless there are any other questions, we'll go ahead and open the floor here for another minute. And unless there are any other questions, I wish you all a wonderful weekend. And thank you so much for attending. All right, it's a wrap. Thank you, Jenny. You can go back to sleep now.
I just might do that.
All right, thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good weekend.